right, welcome everyone to Overrated. I'm James Fluty.
Michael J. O'Connor.
And we have a guest today, the fabulously funny and talented Natasha Muse.
Hey, everybody.
Yes, absolutely.
And
Thanks for having me.
Oh, of course. Thank you for being with us.
I'm super excited to be here on your show and talking about this movie.
The movie today is The Iron Giant, 1999, directed by Brad Bird, based on the book The Iron Man. And it is about a young boy who befriends a giant robot and a government agent trying to capture or destroy it. This is actually one of my favorite animated movies, so I was very happy when Natasha chose this film to bring.
I'd never seen it before. Before last night, actually, and it was an emotional experience.
Yes, this movie makes me cry more than any other film, like on a regular basis. I've seen it about 20 times in my life.
Yeah.
I say I probably teared up or cried at least 18 out of those 20.
Oh my God. That's like one session of crying for every year it's been out. Is it like an annual thing for you?
No, this is 17 of those were back to back.
Oh my God.
Just a really tough month.
Yeah, I had a lot to go through. It was that, and then The Princess Bride 14 times in a row, Labyrinth 10 times.
Does The Princess Bride make you cry?
No, it's just Iron Giant, The Princess Bride, and Labyrinth are all movies that I probably watch when I'm sick.
Oh, yeah.
I can't leave the bed, and it's very comforting.
Yes.
I think Iron Giant, Princess Bride, they have medicinal effects.
Yeah, okay. And they all kind of, well, I guess they don't all take place in the past, but they all have that weird fantastical element to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
magic-y sci-fi.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was wondering why Labyrinth made you cry, but I guess I can, I suppose I can see that.
There's something very emotional about David Bowie's pants in that.
Yeah, I can't quite put my finger on it, although I'd like to.
David and his Bowie.
Very fulfilling, right?
Yeah.
And now that he's moved on to the great big labyrinth in the sky, it's extra emotional.
Yeah, now it would be very emotional. I don't think I've listened to the soundtrack since he's passed away. I don't think I've watched it since he passed away.
Yeah, just gotta remember his little Goblin King.
Wait, is that a euphemism? Is that what's happening now?
That was another reference to David Bowie's penis.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Oh boy, we're really jumping right in.
3 minutes
we're
in.
trying to fit as many as we can.
Oh goodness!
Was that a euphemism?
If you look hard enough, I mean.
Now, is this a movie that you've loved for a long time, or is this one that you discovered with your children?
No, I had like a big thing for robots when back when this came out, and so I actually found out about it because people got me there was like those cute toys that you could get. There was like a Iron Man stuffed animal type thing, and then you would press it and it would say catch. Well, I don't actually know if it was things from the movie. Like one, it was just Hogarth's friend, and I forget what else it said. It actually, I still have it, but the batteries or whatever was inside of it has died, so it's gotten deeper and slower.
Oh God!
As the years have gone by. So now it just goes, oh God. Oh.
So it's like if Vin Diesel was on NyQuil or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so yeah, I had the toys. I don't even honestly. I think I was very preoccupied with being in my early 20s when it came out, and I think I might have been doing a lot of drugs at the time.
Sure.
So I don't actually it just feels like it was one of those things I always remembered it being around after it came out, but I don't actually remember when I first saw it.
Apparently you were on something. Maybe LSD would be a good one for Iron Giant.
Ooh, yeah.
I'd imagine.
Yeah, that would be good. I don't know if I just mean like in general, I was like my brain was in a constant state of like befuddlement. So like certain.
So this wasn't like your Fantasia. This is just in general. There was
No. Wait, what does your Fantasia really mean?
a lot of people would watch Fantasia on LSD. You know, that's
Really?
one of those.
That sounds horrifying.
Yeah.
Alice in Wonderland. Here's another one.
You know, actually, speaking of the Princess Bride, I remember I did watch that on acid. I tried to watch that on acid. And there was the beginning of the story, and it was the first time you see Buttercup, and then they were saying she was the most gorgeous woman in the village, or however the line is. And as she was coming down, and her face just got all pixelated and just started sliding down as she was walking down the hill. Like all of her, just face just started sloughing off of her. So it was very troubling.
Sure.
And did you just like, no, I'm done? Or did you watch?
Yeah. I would just, no, this is not fun for me. It was just like, it was really weird. I couldn't get into the movie. I just saw it as, it actually became little pixels for me. It was very strange. It took some of the magic out of the movie.
I can see that. Most of the people I've known who tried to watch a movie on LSD, it takes a very specific kind of person to be so calm that they can enjoy a movie while on LSD.
Right.
It's someone's first time, they're going to sit down and watch, like, The Wall.
Right.
It's that sage drug user that's been doing it 14 years.
Yes.
Where it's super recreational and boring, and they got to spice it up.
The Princess Bride.
Yeah.
This ass is boring.
A friend of mine is just one of the most ill-advised things I've ever heard. He told me this after the fact, but he said, I took an eighth of mushrooms and I went and saw the new Tron movie in 3D on IMAX, and I had a really bad time. Well, yes, that of course you did.
Well, to be fair, it sounds like he had the same experience everyone else did.
Yeah, well, that's true.
But he had a
I
hard
haven't seen
time.
it.
Like,
That was just an easy shot at it.
I think I fell asleep during it. I don't remember, and then that's been since I've stopped doing so many drugs, so I don't have that to blame anymore. Now, did he just have a bad time, like trying to navigate, like buying the ticket and finding a seat? Because that seems like that would also be an issue if you're on mushrooms.
100%. Yeah, I would think you'd have to like do them in the parking lot, get that sorted, and then proceed as need be.
Yes.
But
It's all about timing with these things.
it is. It is.
You need to it's like you have a little time bomb going inside your belly.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Now, it is nice that we're discussing this children's film, and within minutes, we're rehashing drug stories and tripping.
I feel like you broke the seal with the David Bowie penis talk.
Yeah.
though.
I did.
Yeah.
No, I that was a genuine I like.
Oh, okay.
That was not facetious. That's how this podcast works.
Yep.
In case anyone's concerned.
See, I'm just have that the irony giant where I'm not sure if when you're saying you like something, if you really like it or not.
We're not too ironic. Michael and I are both big fans of all the movies we talk about. Generally, there's been maybe one or two exceptions, and we're just not very harsh critics in general. I think. And maybe you can appreciate this, Natasha. When you create things, I think you become someone who can appreciate even the ill-advised or the failed attempts at creation.
Yeah, definitely. I actually used to think of the idea of being a movie critic as I didn't even think of movies as art back when I was much more confident in my opinions about things.
Yeah.
And over the years, I'm like, how did I ever, I just think it's amazing that hundreds of people can get together to create just this one object of art. And sometimes I just appreciate, what you're saying is just you just appreciate how many different things had to happen for this thing to get made. Whether, it's a good movie or bad, it's just amazing how much work can go into it.
And then how much of you personally kind of go into your art. And so the idea of a bunch of people getting together after hours of hundreds of hours and millions of dollars and all this self-sacrifice, people just go, nope, stupid.
Oh, God, right.
Because I mean, like you and I both perform comedy for years. You're still performing comedy, and sometimes you know the ratio of what works and what doesn't, and you go up there, you do the open mics, and you have so much confidence in something, and it falls flat, and you just move on, and you know that's part of it. But when you're doing something like a film, you don't get to workshop it, other than like maybe some focus groups or maybe you watch it and tweet. Right. You know, they're really putting themselves out there.
Yeah.
I think the idea of trying to write a comedy script to me seems insurmountable, like a feature comedy, because what are the chances? Let's say I'm trying to think of something that was created like completely in a vacuum, like Clerks is something I think about. Like when he wrote that and made that, the risk of just putting it up and having people be like, this, you know, there's nothing funny about this. How would you even know if you're working on one thing just yourself? Like, whereas stand-up, there's a very, you know right away whether or not something is funny or not. But I mean, to go spend $20,000 or what have you and spend all this time making something and then really have no idea whether it's going to work is terrifying to me.
And especially with that example of Kevin Smith, I mean, he put himself in crippling debt.
Right.
That sounds like a nightmare. Just the idea of just like it's like jumping off a cliff and just like, well, somebody told me that there was a net down there.
Right.
I'm gonna hope, because it's either this or I work at the Kogos until I die. So these are the two options. I feel like that's a lot of the outsiders getting into film, like Kevin Smith did.
Sure.
Yeah.
Which, you know, a lot of people throw Kevin Smith some shade every now and again. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of people sort of come down on the Smith man, as I'll call him. But he, like, so remarkable.
That makes sense. How did you make the name Smith sound even more basic?
Yeah, really.
My name's Mr. Smithman.
Pocahontas and Smithman. But to go from having absolutely no connection to Hollywood whatsoever, and he makes this film that connects with so many people, and basically puts him into this circle that he had no connection to, that's remarkable. And there should never be a moment where you stop praising someone who's able to do that, because that's very, very difficult.
Yeah. Although it's weird, he kind of like came out, he's like, his whole career, he like started where you guys are talking about with Clerks, and then he's like gone through the whole system, and now he's kind of back out by himself again on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like he was a huge commodity.
Yeah.
And then just sort of working with his name no longer, like when he did Cop Out, there wasn't Kevin Smith's Cop Out. It was just Cop Out, and by the way, maybe this guy directed it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, now he's doing podcasts, and a lot of his movies are almost crowdsourced in a way. It's a very interesting trajectory.
Yeah, I can never forget the movie Tusk, so that's a thing in my head now forever.
Seriously? Oh, my God.
I don't know if you guys have seen that movie.
Oh, yeah.
I have not.
Oh, man.
I do know about it.
Yeah.
James, you would love it, I think. It's something else, man.
Yeah, something to think about as you're drifting off to sleep at night.
Definitely.
Now, speaking of trajectories, this one's written and directed by Brad Bird.
Yep.
Yeah.
Brad Bird started on The Simpsons, and I'm a huge Simpsons guy. I'm sure all of us sitting here are. Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I mean, with The Simpsons, it's like that thing where it's like I don't think I've seen a new episode in 5 years, but
yes,
I have my era of Simpsons that I like.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And can easily quote from it, pull jokes out. Yeah. Now, I watched a lot of the audio commentary on the DVDs because of how much I love The Simpsons. And there's something about, you take The Simpsons, which is huge, and let's say you are fortunate enough to direct for them, animate for them, write for them. That's already huge. And they look at Brad Bird like, wow, that guy really made it.
Yeah.
You know, which shows you how remarkably small the chances are of anyone else. Like, if they point at Brad Bird and go, like, man, wish I could be him, and they're already part of the, they're already successful by most people's yardsticks. Like, just how big of a career Brad Bird has now.
Yeah. Are you trying to make us feel depressed?
Yeah, really.
I forgot that your guys' dreams haven't died yet. Okay, later when your guys' dreams are dead and you look at them in fondness in the rearview mirror like myself, then you'll appreciate everything I'm saying.
Yeah, that's like when go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, it just makes me think of how, like, sometimes you watch a movie and you see somebody just with, like, a comic actor with, like, 2 lines, and it just seems embarrassing, but also for them to be such a small role in a bad movie, but then also I would kill for that chance.
Right.
Or like you see that person, he comes in, he has kind of a big role, and then you're like, you've never seen them again. You're like, that was that person's career right there. That's where it was. He was wondering if that was going to lead to something new. I
just happened to see the movie Ghost. I don't know if you remember the movie Ghost.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Patrick Swayze, Whoopi Goldberg, Demi Moore, yeah.
And there's a guy that plays a henchman, and I think he's the one that actually kills Patrick Swayze. Mm-hmm. And he was a comedian, and, like, that was his one thing. And then he like died a few years after that.
Just the one very unfunny role.
Yeah.
That was, he's not getting a lot of laughs.
Nope.
As the hired mugger who kills Patrick Swayze. So Brad Bird, now he did, Mission Impossible. He directed one of those. He's directed 2 of the top 100 grossing films of all time with Pixar, The Incredibles and Ratatouille. And recently he did The Land of Tomorrow as well.
Oh, yeah.
Tomorrowland, sorry.
Oh.
I'm basically an 80-year-old.
Did you do that on purpose?
No, that was I do that with names of films and like you know how your grandma does that, stuff. I do that.
The Day After Today world.
One of my favorite. There's a band called the Appleseed Cast, and my friends were going to see them, and one of their fathers said, "Oh, you guys gonna go see the Applesauce Boys?"
Applesauce Boys.
Now those are those guys that do the prank phone calls, right?
Yeah.
You got applesauce, killer.
The G-rated jerky boys. The
Applesauce Boys.
Is your refrigerator running? Good. We're glad to hear that. Have a good day. You smell nice.
That's fucking hilarious. Oh my god. Oh, Jesus.
Now, did anyone see any of Brad Bird's other films? Pixar ones, I assume.
Sure.
I don't think I've actually seen The Incredibles, but I'm familiar with it.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I've seen The Incredibles. I love Ratatouille. I mean, that is amazing.
I was in Mexico and I saw that half of a Spanish dub version of that. That's the closest I got to that.
All right, it's official. Natasha has a more interesting life than either of us.
Yeah, 100%.
Saw that one on acid. I was in Mexico. You got the Hunter S. Thompson film history. I was on mescaline fighting a half Indian during the Gone with the Wind screening.
I want to know what a half Indian is.
Someone who's half Indian. What is that? Is that confusing?
I guess the way you phrased it was just interesting imagery.
The more specific, the better.
Yeah, makes me think of a Kipling type of a thing.
Rudyard Kipling.
Yeah, Rudyard Kipling.
Bill Kipling. He's my neighbor. He has a lot of fanciful things that he talks about.
No, Kipling Smithman.
He's my accountant. Dull man, half Indian.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah.
So your
Brad
children
Bird.
apparently are also missing out on Brad Bird's films. If you haven't seen Incredibles yet or Ratatouille.
Yeah, they're just 5 and 3, so we're kind of easing into the screen time. They've seen Moana.
Yeah, I've seen your love and your children's love of Moana posted every now and again. Very like you surfing with them on kitchen tables, if I remember correctly.
Oh right, yes, that was fun. It was a boat, but yeah.
Yeah, you kept bringing it up on social media, so I eventually I kept going like I really need to see that because Natasha loves it, all these other people love it. I eventually did see it, and it is amazing. I really do enjoy
so
it.
Cute.
Well, you're welcome.
And then maybe you could tell your daughter is a huge fan of it, and she wanted to dress.
Oh, yes.
The character, right? Yeah.
She wanted to dress up.
She kept adding layers, and you had to kind of put your foot down at one point.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you guys know Maui, from the Moana. Mm-hmm. She wanted to be Maui, so she wanted to have tattoos drawn on her. And I said, well, we could probably do that. And she needed to have the grass skirt and the hook. And I was like, yeah, we could probably get that for you. And she's like, I need curly hair. I was like, yeah, we could probably do that. She's like, I need to get my skin all dark. Ooh. I was like, I don't know if we can... I don't know if they have makeup like that.
We'll start with the other one.
Yeah, we'll start with the other one, see how that goes. And
oh, Jesus.
It turns out she didn't have the patience to get her hair curled right. So
it was, as you would imagine with a lot of kids, that interest dropped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now she wants to just be a bat for Halloween. So I don't know where that came from. Not Batgirl, which she was last year. She just wants to be a bat.
A bat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
It's Halloweeny.
Yeah. I don't care.
Do you?
Now, Michael, did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I did. I loved it. And I love... it made me want to wear turtlenecks and call myself a beatnik. I love. Is it Harry Connick Jr. that does
Harry Connick Jr. does.
Yeah, he was so cool, man. That character was so awesome.
Oh, he's great.
Yeah,
Harry Connick Jr. I've liked just about every time he acts in something. Mm-hmm. He's a very. I don't know. It's sort of. I feel like again, I'm an 80-year-old woman again. Like messing up titles, and also Harry Connick Jr. is just very charismatic. I just like him. He's just a nice guy, and his music is great. He's a phenomenal musician, by the way. He's amazing.
Does he? Okay, he's good, huh?
Yeah, jazz standards. If you don't like jazz, then there's no point to go listening to him.
So he does covers, all right? Or they're called standards in jazz?
Yeah, yeah, mostly. They're called that's what the jazz people call them, the standards and that. Songs are called blip blop.
So he's a one-man cover band. Is that what you're saying?
Well, he might do originals as well. I think he does because I think he had like a Christmas album where he did a bunch of like originals in that.
It's definitely he's definitely.
Oh, he was in Independence Day.
Oh yeah,
was he?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I'm just looking on Google.
He played the alien. Yeah. He got punched by Will Smith.
Welcome.
Right. He got welcome to Earth.
He definitely he comes around Christmas mostly with albums, like when Michael Bublé and Josh Groban crawl up from under their rocks during Christmas time and put out new albums.
I watched a live performance of his, which I think you get more of how good of a piano player he is. Apparently, he was also a savant. He started playing, being able to play some difficult pieces, jazz pieces at 8.
He just turned 50 on 9/11.
Oh.
So now you guys will remember when his birthday is.
Yeah, I will not forget that.
Well, I don't like Harry Connick Jr. anymore.
Oh, jeez.
Wow. Christopher McDonald, who I think is sort of an underrated guy. He was the agent. Yeah. He was the agent that moves in and was trying to get the fantastic. He's always great.
He's such a good asshole.
Yes, he is.
Oh.
Yeah, I wonder if that must just mess with his brain.
I don't know.
You want if you get typecast as a certain thing, and especially if you're in a television show as a certain thing, because I remember once Hugh Laurie played House, and he actually messed up his knee because of how often he was holding the cane and walking with a limp.
Right.
Wow.
It actually affected him physically, and he had to go through physical therapy. If it can affect you physically, I imagine it can't affect you mentally.
Sure.
That's really like he pretended to be hurt until his body was like, oh, okay, I guess we'll be hurt then.
Huh.
You say so. I don't know why his body talks like that.
Yes.
Oh, geez, Mr. Howard.
Yeah, what was that guy's name? Christopher McDonald?
Christopher McDonald. He's also, you might remember him. He was the father in SLC Punk.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that. He was very good in that as well.
I didn't sell out. I bought in.
He's probably one of those guys that you find out he's really cool, right?
I'm open.
Yeah.
Because
or his friends go, yeah.
I plan on stalking him soon, so I'm hoping he's a very...
Oh.
I bet his friends are like, I bet if he was like bummed out about getting, always cast as the asshole, and people are like, no, you're not an asshole. You just look like an asshole.
Just have an asshole's face. Oh. I did see a while back someone posted something. They got his autograph, and he had signed it, I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast.
Oh, he was in Happy Gilmore. That's
Gilmore,
where most people know him from. Yes. Totally forgot about Shooter McGavin.
Shooter McGavin.
Oh, does that his line? Did that come from him?
Yeah.
From that movie?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Did not know that.
Well, I mean, the not the phrase itself, but it's one of the famous jokes in the film.
Oh, okay.
He didn't coin it.
Really? I don't know. I'd never heard.
That's an old expression.
I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast?
Well, basically, I eat wimps like you for breakfast. I eat, blank like you for breakfast.
Right, but the pieces of shit is what.
I didn't realize that I
distinct
eat shit like you was distinct to the I eat things like that for breakfast. Like I didn't realize that was two different categories. So yes, he coined that, I guess.
Okay, that's where I was confused. I thought it was an old timey phrase, like I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast, like. I don't know.
I eat
applesauce like you for breakfast.
Just a bunch of applesauce boys in here.
So apparently now it's a 1930s.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, if there was like some James Cagney, like, come on out, I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast. I don't know. I'm no historian. He was so good in this, and it made me kind of laugh because, boy, his mom sure seemed willing to just kind of let the lodger watch her kid.
Well, this is the 50s.
Well,
you didn't really worry about kids back then.
That's true.
Apparently, from everything that I could tell, you were doctors were smoking cigarettes, blowing the smoking babies' faces. You could go like, "Here's a plastic bag. Go play with that." That was the 50s, apparently.
She knew he was a government agent, right?
I don't know. I don't think she bothered finding out. Jennifer Aniston was not a very good mom in this one.
No.
Very protective mother. Single mother at that. It's like 1950s, you're a single mother. You just let your kid run wild.
Just living at the restaurant.
Judged. She was judged in that town, I can imagine.
Big time.
Poor Hogarth.
I know.
Oh, Hogarth. So some of the themes in this I really enjoy. One, I love the 50s as a time period, like 40s through 50s, 60s. I love any films taking place. The Red Scare is always a fantastic sort of backdrop as well.
Definitely.
You had Sputnik was a big part of this film.
Yeah, I love they're in the school and they're doing the drop under your desk drills and all that. What an odd time period. I mean, that's just a constant. That's got to screw with your psyche if that's a constant.
Luckily, we live today where the threat of nuclear annihilation is completely gone.
Off the table.
Oh, those silly people in the 50s.
How backwards.
Yeah, there is something very instantly creepy that only adults are going to get how creepy that imagery is.
Yeah.
The kids aren't going to understand that was actually taught and that the idea of hiding under your desk as being completely pointless and just fed to people to appease them, basically.
Right.
I wonder who started that. Like, what was the point? Like, was it to make parents feel better, or?
It might have been both. It might have made kids feel better because, you know, they see their parents are freaking out. Make parents feel better because, like in Japan, they're doing that. They're doing drills right now where they're like hiding behind cars or like underneath things or locking your doors. And I saw an interview with this Japanese guy, and he's going like, "Yeah, I don't know how much this will help, but here we are doing it."
You say locking your doors?
Yeah, I there's no desks necessary for the average Joe and under now, but I think it was like get indoors.
Okay,
you know, like somehow their house is going to protect them
because everyone knows that a nuclear weapon needs to be invited into your house,
just like a vampire.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, you got to put the lamb's blood X on your door, and you got to put the garlic outside.
Yeah,
a fire. Nuclear bombs are scared of fire.
And if you're not sure if it's a nuclear weapon, you just put a mirror up to it. And if you can't see its reflection, then that definitely is a nuclear bomb.
Okay, I was thinking of werewolves, vampires, and God. Was anyone else? the classic movie monster.
Yes, the universal monsters.
Did you ever see that Abbott and Costello where they meet God? That's a funny one.
That's all part of the cinematic universe that they're developing over there.
Right.
You idiot! You killed all of Egypt's firstborn!
Maybe that's what's under all those wraps in the mummy. They unwrap it. Oh, it was God the whole time.
Oh.
God.
That's why he was upset and killing him.
God Smithman, you get over here.
Said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. Yeah, I mean,
I guess
it was really. It's just I really enjoyed that whole that aspect of it, and just that backdrop for a giant like iron monster that comes to kind of terrorize this small town, quote unquote terrorize this small town. Is just really cool.
And you had Cloris Leachman there doing a little cameo as the teacher.
Oh, yeah.
She had a larger role, but unfortunately, the other scene where she had more lines was cut. You know, she's great. Cloris Leachman's always great.
She's great.
Now, this was actually co-produced by Pete Townsend. And it was because it was originally going to be a musical, and he had actually written music for it.
That's right.
But then later it was not made a musical. But yeah, The Who had made sort of a concept album for the book.
I think that Pete Townsend did put out an actual album of it, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's even a little video for A Friend is a Friend, and it's got a little Iron Giant in it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Little claymation, stop motion type thing.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, like, you could show your kids Iron Giant, and then right after that, Tommy.
Yeah.
Make a day of it.
I would love to. We would all love to just watch TV all day, and I just can't let us do that yet.
No, that's smart. That is smart. I don't know if I was a parent that I would have the patience to do that.
Yeah, it's really tempting.
Yeah. Because when I watched like my nephew and my nieces and nephew, that was like the best. You just sit him down in front of something, and you're just like, I can rest now. I can enjoy my life.
It's an instant problem solver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was, me having not nearly as much responsibility. So I'd imagine when you actually care and you got to do things like do the dishes and vacuum and clean and all that kind of stuff, it's even more difficult.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
That sucks.
So we learned don't have kids, listeners. Just don't do it. You end up loving them. You got to take care of them. It's a ton of work.
I try to make clean.
Get a dog.
I try to make cleaning look fun so that they'll want to help.
Right.
Kind of work.
That's very Mary Poppins of you.
Yeah. I just need to work on my making things float abilities a little bit better. I got kind of mad when I saw Mary Poppins because it seemed like she made it look like so much fun, and I was like, oh, but she can also like do magic.
Right.
It seems like
it's a lot less impressive. It's like, yeah, Superman can beat Muhammad Ali in the ring. He's Superman. That's not impressive.
Yeah,
he didn't have to work.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, Mary Poppins. Like, she could make like their dad's funeral fun. You know,
it's true.
The floating casket.
Was not the best sequel. That was a little bit of a downer.
It was a dark, gritty reimagining of the Mary Poppins universe. Yeah,
the Coen Brothers reimagining of Mary Poppins.
And Dick Van Dyke was a gravedigger.
Oh God.
And he still had children helping him. That was the part that was...
And they still are all ashy.
Yeah. Well.
What did they do? That's from the cremation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Some people get buried, some people get burned.
That was one of the songs in the Some people get buried, some people get burned.
That's only slightly more depressing than the actual song.
Seriously.
that chimney sweeping song is so dark. We're sweeping chimneys and half of us will get black lung at 9.
God.
It's like, what a weird thing. Like, one of the saddest parts of like human history is the enslavement of children in dangerous work, and they're just like, and you whistle a little too.
I wish we were magic too.
But you're not.
I tried showing my daughter pictures. I found a picture of a little 6-year-old boy working in a coal mine, and my daughter's 5, and I was like trying to show her a picture. And I wanted to be like, this could be you, but I didn't want to be like too on the nose about it.
It sounds like you're either trying to make her feel bad so she'll clean her room, or like, if it wasn't for me, so you should mind your mother.
Yeah. If it weren't for the stupid government, you'd already be smoking cigarettes.
Libertarian view on that one.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. Oh, it really is, huh? Libertarian going wrong.
The extreme libertarians are like, there is a wing of like, why shouldn't kids be working?
Yeah.
God.
Like, this government stepping in, they could be making money for their parents.
Why can't you just sell your organs?
Why not get these chains off of my wrists?
Anyways, we could talk about libertarianism all day.
Clearly.
Oh, can we? All right. Here's
the thing. Yeah.
I want my 9-year-old to be able to sell liquor. I'm tired of Uncle Sam telling me what I can't. No, that's a weird. The Red Scare also, you have that element of paranoia, which is always a fun thing to put in there. That everyone assumes anything that fell had to be from the Russians.
Right, and do they ever make it? I didn't quite catch it. But did they ever kind of make it clear where he came from? Was he some sort of defense? I didn't quite.
They don't. Okay. Now, they do in the extended version, which I still haven't seen.
Oh, okay.
The signature edition of the Iron Giant, there is a dream sequence that explains the Iron Giant's home planet, so he is from outer space.
Okay.
And that there was some sort of conflict that made him leave.
I see.
And then he crash lands, there's the dent in the head, he doesn't remember where he's from.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, Transformers, if it didn't involve cars or Shia LaBeouf.
Like a bumblebee just fell to Earth by himself?
What?
What?
Oh, Bumblebee is one of the Transformers. Okay.
Right? No.
Well, you said a Bumblebee, which doesn't, like, Bumblebee's his name.
Right.
It wouldn't be like, James Filter,
Okay.
So that's where my confusion came from.
I hear that.
I thought you meant literally an insect.
Yeah, it's if a bumblebee flutters its wing on Cybertron.
Right.
There's a hurricane.
This was a roundabout way to get to the chaos theory, but we're here now. Yeah.
I wouldn't. It would be kind of fun to see the Iron Giant rebooted as with just a bumblebee in place of an Iron Giant. I'm gonna throw extra articles on everything.
Are you
just to see if you notice?
It would be easier to hide. That's for sure.
I wasn't. Now let me make this clear. I wasn't trying to correct grammar. I was explaining why I was confused.
Oh boy!
I wasn't just like an English teacher going like, "Don't end in a predicate." I was just that's where the
what? Wait, aren't you supposed to end in a predicate? It goes subject and then predicate. Yeah.
She ended in a predicate. All right.
Okay.
Are you thinking of prepositions?
I'm thinking of preposition.
I'm thinking in a preposition. Sorry.
Okay.
See? I wouldn't be able to correct grammar if I wanted to.
Thank God we cleared that up.
So that was an important part of Iron Giant, was the grammar, I think.
It actually, I guess it kind of was, because it was originally, like you said before, it was called the Iron Man, right?
Yes. They changed it because they didn't want it to be confused with Iron Man.
Right.
Yeah.
The Marvel.
Yeah.
They made that into a movie. Did you guys see that?
I heard it was made into a movie. And then I feel like it just kind of fizzled out. No one really cared about it.
I've only seen the third one.
What about the third one?
I've only seen the third one. I haven't seen any of the other.
Have you actually only seen the third one?
Yeah.
What was that?
Kind of odd. I don't know.
Is that a joke that you were placing in there, or did you actually only see the third one?
I actually only saw the third one, yeah.
What?
Yeah, I don't know.
I've only seen the fifth Rocky.
Yeah. Those movies aren't very good.
I've only read the sequel to Gone with the Wind called Scarlet.
Right.
That's weird.
I don't know.
Don't do that.
Sorry.
If anyone's in the audience and you're wondering where to start with on Iron Man
for me,
trilogy,
it's Return of the Jedi or nothing.
I've only seen the Christmas special Star Wars Life Day. And I'm going to tell you, I don't see what all the hype's about.
Right. It's pretty bad, actually. Scott Baio shows up. I don't know. It's weird.
I'm sorry, is Scott Baio in that?
No, I don't know. I know that they have like 70s guest stars, but it's the first.
That seemed plausible. I was
did, right?
huh.
Thanks.
I think it's.
I know B. Arthur was in it.
B. Arthur, yes,
was
that's
B. Arthur
right.
Her name?
Yep.
Yeah, and I mean the singer who does "Say a Little Prayer for Me."
Dionne Warwick.
Dionne Warwick.
Yeah,
she sings a song.
Is that because Warwick Davis played the Ewok?
That is exactly why.
Are they related?
Yes, they're related because one of their first names is Warwick. The other's last name is Warwick.
They're related in the grand sense of the. Yeah.
They're all citizens of Earth.
Right.
Did she? What is song? No, never mind.
I don't know what song she sings. Honestly, the only song I think I've ever heard her sing is "Say a Little Prayer for Me." Which is a great song.
We'll do the Star Wars Christmas special, and we'll have you back for that, Natasha.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Now, I know Natasha is a huge Star Wars fan, or at least was.
I do enjoy the Star Wars. Yeah.
Because at one of my shows, you auctioned off some of your Star Wars things. Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of wish I'd kept that spaceship for my girls, because they're playing with my stuff now, but that's fine.
Well, that ended sad. Did you at least get some money for it? Did someone buy it from you?
I think Ivan gave me $2 for an X-Wing.
Wow, he made out like a bandit.
He sure did. Then he moved to Florida.
Is Ivan in Florida?
I forget now.
Okay.
He was in LA, and I think he's in Florida.
Oh, okay. What a weird trajectory for a comedy career. I'm going to go to Florida.
I don't think he's doing comedy anymore.
Oh, okay.
Well,
I think you start comedy in the West Coast, and then you quit comedy and move to the East Coast. I think that's how it goes.
They say if you can make it there.
So Ivan retired at that young of an age. He's now retired in Florida.
Yeah. He's a hurricane chaser now.
I guess you could call this inside baseball that we're talking about this comic that no one knows. Sorry.
This is like inside Little League. It's not even...
Listen, little Jimmy needs to work on his sword pass.
So as I say, the Red Scare, that was all added in the movie. In the book, didn't have those overtones at all.
Now, I've never read the book, but I have read that the movie is pretty much nothing like the book.
Yes. It's not even in the book. The Iron Giant like crawls out of the sea.
Oh,
yeah.
He's not even. But he does fight an alien from outer space.
So literally almost nothing is the same, other than there is a giant robot.
Yeah. But that befriends a boy.
Okay, befriends a boy. Okay, so he got that's that's basically the plot.
Yeah,
basically.
Do you know about the author, Ted Hughes?
I know that was why Hogarth's last name is Hughes.
Yeah. But I found out that he actually was married to Sylvia Plath.
Oh,
really?
That's Ted Hughes?
That's Ted Hughes.
Oh, my God.
The same Ted Hughes, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Huh.
And he wrote the story for their kids after she killed herself.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my God. That just made it so much darker.
Makes it, and it's already pretty. This is like the saddest thing that's ever happened to me.
Now I'm going to cry twice.
Yeah, really.
During that film, it's going to be in the beginning when I'm like, oh yeah, Sylvia Plath, this great, brilliant mind, died because of depression. Oh, and now a robot's sacrificing himself for a town.
Right.
Damn it, Natasha! With your knowledge.
Yeah.
The Bell Jar is a beautiful book, by the way, if anyone wants to read it. Sylvia Plath.
Was that her only novel?
I'm sorry?
Was that her only novel?
I think so, because everything else is poetry.
Poetry, yeah.
Yeah. So every time you watch it, just, be thankful for the crippling effects of depression.
Sure.
Be thankful?
Yeah, because we wouldn't have gotten this movie.
We wouldn't have had okay. Yeah. I thought you meant like just this weird general thankfulness for it. Just it's out there. Just enjoy it.
What, crippling depression?
Yeah, crippling depression. It's cool. Just be thankful for it could go any moment. It could be gone tomorrow, and you won't be after crippling depression anymore. You wish you had appreciated it.
You got to cling on to something.
Otherwise, public transit's not nearly as fun.
What?
That was a weird joke. I'm thinking a lot of the crazy people on the bus are suffering from various degrees of mental illness, including crippling depression.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Sure. Well, speaking of crippling depression, can we talk about the ending and the way, I don't know if it's the music, because I feel like that has a lot to do with it, the way it's set up, the way the voice is, because I had never seen it. I knew nothing about this movie at all. And last night I was talking to a coworker of mine, and I said, "Oh, I'm gonna watch The Iron Giant tonight." And he made this noise. He went, "Whoa." And I was like, "Well, what?"
Is that a Robin Williams quote?
Oh.
I too, when discussing this film, just immediately do an impression of Robin Williams.
Sure. And he was very concerned for me, and he was right to be, man. There's something about it that is very like Old Yeller-ish, and there's it's so like I say, I don't know if it's the music, I don't know if it's the last line. It's just boy, that
part of it for me is the tear-jerking moment is when you see the statue that they make of the Iron Giant. Like, there's a sense of like, oh, now they know how great he is.
Right.
I don't know what, I think maybe, anyone who loves sci-fi and grew up with comics and loves that world, I think they had a daydream, at least, of befriending a giant robot.
Sure.
That's a pretty common young kid fantasy. And so you actually get attached to this robot like it is a dog or a good friend, a best friend.
Yeah, I think that it does tap into to me. I can't deal with like sad dog movies, like that that Dog's Purpose movie and stuff like that. I don't need that in my life. And it had kind of the same. This had a similar effect on me. Even though
And the
there's
less
a happy.
words
Did you say you didn't like it?
No, I loved it.
Okay.
Yeah, I just specifically like sad dog movies. I can't deal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something too about the less words spoken by a character,
Right.
the more innocent and the more the sadder it is when something horrible happens to them.
Right.
So, dog, no words. There's no. You get this you get this idea that there's no understanding for them. So that's so sad when something bad happens.
Right.
Nothing can be communicated to them. They don't know what's going on. I mean, that's horrible. That's a horrible. Lilo and Stitch. There's very little talking from Stitch.
Right.
So he's much more adorable. It's much sadder when he's got to go back and he just says the one sentence. And I think same thing with the Iron Giant. It's very little dialogue. You get this idea of a childlike mind.
It's strange to think that like this was the precursor to him doing Groot.
Right.
It is. They're very similar.
Oh yeah.
Very few words. They both sacrifice for themselves and they both resurrect.
Yeah.
Oh, right, he gets resurrected too. Yeah, I feel like it's just a really well put together movie where the ending feels like it's earned. Like all the pieces are put out there during the course of the movie. They're naturally set up and in a way that doesn't feel too obvious. And then it just comes together so naturally at the end that I feel like it really does have that resonance, you know? Where he just says, you know, the last thing he says is Superman, and it's just like, all right, night, you got me, you did it. That was great. It was really wonderful.
Yeah.
And so much of there are some few moments that you might think of as I don't know, like gratuitous almost, but they're so satisfying. Like when the agent tries to run away and he just crashes into a car, and then you know they show him being cowardly and pathetic, and although that seems almost cliche in a way, there's something satisfying. I'm glad they do all those moments.
Sure.
And it's not coming out of nowhere. Like that's his character from the beginning. Like he's trying to, you know, to aggrandize himself, and he's like, you know, he's like kind of the embodiment of that Cold War paranoia.
Or at least McCarthyism, the sort of like you're using this fear in order to create something for yourself.
Yeah, and acting without thinking and being very self-serving.
Yeah, take that, Joseph, there we go. I had the J. But Joseph McCarthy's not getting an easy ride on this podcast.
That's right. We're taking a stand. McCarthyism, bad.
I don't care who hears me say it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Twitter. Take me to task.
I love the scene where it's like right in the beginning where the Harry Connick Jr.'s characters, the sea captain guy's telling the story of how he saw this thing, and they're all like, oh yeah, whatever. And then Harry Connick Jr. is like, I saw it too. And they're like, hey, that's my case closed right here with this hippie beatnik. You know, he's like very well groomed and like, you know, he'd be on the cover of GQ. I mean, I know he's a cartoon, but like if that person was real, now he'd be.
So you had a strange attraction to him. Go ahead.
Well, nothing strange about it. I mean, of course.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. I thought that you would be uncomfortable with it.
Oh yeah, well,
because it's animated,
right? No. It was just it was really funny, like to think that someone who wears like a black turtleneck would be very, this oddball.
Well, the Beatniks were a very counterculture thing. So if that is in fact what he was, it would have been like, oh, that guy smoking reefer out in the parking lot before he came in here and probably mugged an old lady.
Yeah,
that's what they thought of Beatniks. So yeah. The line that I loved after that though, if we don't stick up for the kooks in this world, who will?
Oh yeah,
I just thought that was a really nice moment. You really get an idea of who Dean is in that moment.
Yeah,
just immediately it encapsulates him perfectly for the entire film. Also, first movie to ever have a character fully CGI.
Really?
Yeah.
The Iron Giant, the giant himself. And they actually had to create a program to make the lines around the giant squiggly so that he blended in with the animation.
Huh. Well, I was wondering. I was wondering about that when you were saying that Cloris Leachman had a longer part that got cut. That seems. I wonder if her part got cut after the recording, because it would seem to me that you wouldn't want to animate anything extra. I always wonder about that with animation. I'm just not sure. As far as like editing afterwards.
I mean, certainly you try and do, I'd imagine, the minimum amount, but I mean, if a scene just isn't working, even though you've done animation, though, most of the time, though, in animated films, when I look at the deleted scenes, it's just the storyboard,
the animatic
process of it. Yeah, the animatic.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And so, it's the weird. It's very difficult and unnerving to watch.
Right.
I like. There's a great character moment too. Speaking of, was his name Dean McCoppin, the junkyard guy?
Yeah.
After he like first sees the Iron Giant, they're out in the junkyard, and he's like drinking his coffee, but it's like just keeps shaking in his arm. He's just sitting there on an old like bench ripped out of a car on the hill, watching him. Just like his whole world view just turned upside down. Mm-hmm. And they just have him like, his normally Mr. Cool guy. Mm-hmm. Really being shaken by, like literally being shaken by it. I thought that was kind of a fun.
And they kind of play with that a few times in it. His reactions are always great when the squirrel's in his leg.
Yeah.
Pants inside his leg, ripping at his flesh. Then when the Iron Giant cannonballs and he's all wet, when he's asking him to stay in there and he just pours out the coffee and walks inside, it's just. Yeah, they do a great job with that character.
I kind of it made me laugh when he does pour out the coffee, because especially in older movies you'll see this all the time when there's some like a hobo or something with like his bottle of booze, and he'll see some like Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Hyde, like some monster type character, and he'll dump out the bottle of booze like, oh, it's time to, I've had enough of this, and he has to like dump out his coffee when he said. I thought it made me laugh.
That's like that even appears in like a number of Looney Tunes cartoons.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The weird animal comes by and the hobo. I'm going straight. Yep. Mm-hmm. So it's become a huge cult classic.
Yeah.
In fact, I saw the preview for what is the name of that book that is becoming a movie? It is Ready Player One. They actually show the Iron Giant in it because it's all about these pop culture references. So you're going to get to see a CGI, new CGI version of the Iron Giant, which is going to be fun. It's become a huge success, although it was not a success in theaters. It's become a huge success in DVD sales, which is great.
Did they just not advertise it enough? Is that what it was?
According, it made up $23 million, but it cost $70 million.
Ooh.
Okay.
And it came out the same weekend as The Sixth Sense, which was just a phenomenon. So that might have been part of it. But I think it was just, it's a cool movie. It's not a super accessible movie.
Yeah.
Putting something in the 50s, a lot of kids they're not going to connect to that in the same way that they would, just making a movie about talking cars or a bunch of dogs that running through the city. It's a little bit more mature, I think, than a lot of kids were ready for. But again, huge cult following now. Yeah. Started a phenomenal career in movies for Brad Bird. Groundbreaking in effects, brilliant directing and writing, and hugely overrated.
It catches me off guard every time. This is episode 16, and I'm always like, yeah, totally.
You're still surprised at the ending of every Scooby-Doo episode.
I know, honest to God.
It wasn't a ghost?
Yeah. Who'd have thought it was the creep who owned the haunted amusement park? Weird. Huh.
What do you mean it was just some old guy?
Yeah.
This doesn't even make sense because there's like, oh no, I guess.
He would have gotten away with it too.
Yeah. If it wasn't for something.
Yeah, some set of circumstances.
Some sort of collection of individuals.
Yeah.
a bunch of high kids and a dog with a speech impediment.
with a speech impediment. Like the fact he can't talk is overlooked.
Yeah.
But he can't do it.
I'm really unimpressed with the dog if it can't speak well.
I think his speech impediment was that he was a dog.
Like this dog comes up and he's
Yeah, that's why his
someone
species
stuck in the
impediment.
well, and I'm like, you got a lisp. Go fix that, and then tell me about whatever emergency you want to.
Your name's Lassie, not Laffy.
Oh dear.
I was gonna say something. Oh, do you guys think of that as a kids movie? Because I'm not even sure if my kid, like, I think my kids, they watched it and they were kind of scared, and then they were sad for a lot of the movie.
Yeah.
I think they might have been a little too young, but
My nephew watched it, and if he can watch it, then it's a kids movie because like he doesn't have the greatest attention span. He had some difficulty with Star Wars, and then he had nightmares. So,
oh no,
yeah, I felt pretty bad.
No.
Pretty.
you should have started with Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Apparently, I should have started with some of the older ones. Yeah, they're more. But at the same time, I don't want to show. I don't like them. I don't want to watch them. They're all right, but
Star Wars or your nephews?
the prequels. Yeah.
Oh.
They're they're okay. I'm not going to hate on them too much. They're
Which ones did your nephew watch?
New Hope.
Oh, okay.
But so I have a lot of Star Wars paraphernalia around the house, and I have a little Darth Vader that dispenses gumballs, and so he would get gumballs from this little Darth Vader every now and again. So he watches the movie. He's having nightmares. You know, I go downstairs and go, "Are you okay?" And he's like, his nightmares are with the stormtroopers. And so I'm like, "Oh, the stormtrooper trailer." He was like, "Yeah, the stormtroopers are really scary. Darth Vader is fine because he gives me candy, but the stormtroopers are really scary." I thought that was such a weird, like, even though James Earl Jones is the deep voice and he's like killing people, it's like, no, he's cool. I know that guy. He'll give you gumballs. He's cool. But those other guys. It's like if, like, you know, you watch The Son of Sam, and you're like, Jeffrey Dahmer was fine. I know this clown. He made me candy. It was cool.
Right.
But that lady next door, that old lady, I didn't
Right.
trust her. She didn't give me shit.
That's so Pavlovian. That's amazing.
It's kind of like Darth Vader's the cool boss, where he, like, you know, comes in just with candies, and he makes his employees do all the shit work.
Right.
So it's kind of like working on the Death Star. It's like working at Twitter.
Yeah.
There's your free food, and there's your pool table in the corner. You can go there when you want. We don't have walls. It's just an open space.
But you can never leave.
But you have to spend 19 hours a day to get your work done.
Right, yeah.
Staring at a screen. Killing Jedi. We're just talking about Star Wars now.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think, yeah. I mean, I loved this movie. I'm going to watch it again. And it was sad. It was everything that I thought it was going to be. Again, it made me want to, like, wear a turtleneck and be a beatnik. And it was 100% overrated. I will say that.
I mean, we got there. All right.
Well, whatever.
All right. Thank you so much, Natasha.
Are we done?
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's our sort of sign off. If you have anything else you want to add.
Just that I was excited to hear John Mahoney do a voice.
Oh, yeah. John Mahoney.
With
It's always good.
With the Frasier Friends connection there.
Sure.
Is your Friends connection?
No, there's
your
Rachel
friend?
from Friends and then John Mahoney from Frasier.
Okay. I thought you meant like that. Like at one point they crossed over or something. Okay.
Well, I mean, it's finally the crossover we've been waiting for.
Oh, he's always and he's done a lot of drama in his day too, and he's always great in that too. He's a fantastic actor.
And I also like to make a sad note that although we all talked about how great the mom was and all the supporting cast, and the kid that plays a little boy gets very little credit or interest.
Although he did do a really good job. You're right.
He did a great job. Then he went on to be in the American Pie movies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
then
I noticed on the
away.
on the TMC, the TCM website, on the Iron Giant post, they don't even have him listed in the cast.
Oh, no. No.
And then Vin Diesel's 55 line words are his podcast.
Yeah, so I wanted to mention that sad thing, and then the Sylvia Plath thing you guys saw.
What other sad things?
Pete Townsend was an executive producer. They didn't use any of his music, and he was kind of bitter about that. But,
and then on my drive-in, I hit a dog.
God!
It whined a lot. I had to put it down. Little kid saw me. He started crying.
Then he had to be taken care of.
Yeah,
no witnesses.
Can't deal with that.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, you guys. Before we sign off, Natasha, how can people find you and your comedy online?
You can just go to my website, natashamuse.com, or just check me out on Twitter if you want. I actually do, if you're in San Francisco, I do a movie riffing show every month at the Alamo Draft House. You can check that out, too.
Excellent. And also, anyone who doesn't want to follow her on Twitter, Natasha is fantastic with wordplay. One of my favorite things about her comedy. Puns, plays on words, any kind of stuff. Like, she's very fun to follow. So go do that.
Thanks.
Of course.
Thank you. You're so sweet.
I am.
Isn't he?
Yeah. I mean, also a little overrated, but...
Sure.
Oh!
You sons of bitches.
We got to end there. All right. We'll see y'all next week.
Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.